Para huba. How? Welcome in. I tried to record this. I'm a little upset because I had a whole thing recorded, had a whole thing going, um, and it just did not work. It didn't want to work. It shut off halfway through. I said a whole bunch of stuff. It made me mad. It's a little sad that it had to happen, but we got the cards out still. I remember what I said, so I'm just gonna jump right back into it. But before we do that, free Dr. Malachi York. He is the one that is gonna be coming home. And as we are entering the as we have already began to enter, I should say, the sun cycle. Um, if you haven't already been being in more of that dependent or independent, I should say, truly, energy, where you are not waiting for a savior to, rescue you, or a certain person to come rescue you, you've been on the right track. But if you are one that's still trying to wait for someone to save you, you're in a really bad ship, because no one is going to save you. That's an illusion given to you by religion dogma and then spirituality dogma, because they're both the same. Um, but also study upon the Cinderella story for a better grasp. Regardless of what's going on, we have the King of Wands and Death, both upright. The King of Wands came out first and then Death, but with this being out, it's Leo and Scorpio energy. It was really saying that there's a matured idea or a matured fuel, a matured source that is giving you change with whatever you're dealing with. If this is a business, and this change doesn't have to be good. If this is like, oh, my business, something's failing and I want to know why, well, it's because something's already matured. It's already matured in failure, so it has to change. And that change either means it ending, or something within that relationship changing, something within those chemicals changing. So right now there is a big solidified push to change, or there is a idea that you have that will lead to great change, that is very solid. And with the fire and water coming out in order like this being properly fueled, this idea is fueled for transformation. This is fueled to change who you are. This is fueled to get you to one place to another, knowing that you're protected, but get ready for that change, that evolution of self to take place. It is time. There is something that is being completed, but this change of self isn't the test. The test comes after the change that happens with self. Right now, I would definitely focus on feelings that are keeping you from moving forward. With the Knight of Cups being inverted Pisces energy, there is there are aspects of self that aren't connecting. You are not allowing yourself to be bound together by the divine, by the celestial bridge. You're separating yourself because you aren't yet ready to move past this sort of transformation stage. This could be a dark night of the soul. This could just be you being in a stagnant place for a while, but something can't move forward because you haven't delved into the feeling of why. You haven't looked into the inner meanings, the true depths of it, the sacredness of what you're going through. You might just be seeing it as, oh, this is annoying, or oh, this is pain, or yada yada yada, but you're not seeing the truth of it. You're not seeing what it's building. You're not seeing the character that it's forming, because you're making this new character in a weaker form than how you already were, which is counteractive and counterintuitive to what you're doing, or what you're trying to do at least. We have the Five of Swords here. Um, the first minor, which is interesting. But the Five of Swords is Aquarius and Venus, and again, that's just kind of what I was saying. Like, you're not seeing the beauty. Venus is the beholder, seeing the beauty in the beholder. You're not seeing that beauty. You're just seeing everything that is wrong. You're seeing all the things that are bad, and you're not looking back at anything that is beneficial or was beneficial. You're not seeing anything as beneficial. You might have had an argument with a friend, and they might have said something to you that really just made you mad, but made you also like strengthen up your boundaries. But instead of realizing the fact that your boundaries have been made stronger, you're taking offense to the fact that someone doesn't want to be your friend anymore. Or you, you're going through a tough time, but someone isn't, talking to you. But it's because every time that you try to get advice from that person, they end up telling you things that you don't want to hear. So you're getting mad at that person for doing something and respecting your will. It's things like that that are coming up like this. Or you need to move forward and you need to begin to work on your adventures, your business, your creations. But you have these thoughts of, oh, what if someone does, someone's not going to like this, so I'm not going to do this. Or what if someone, what if someone sees this, or blah blah blah. You're letting just these thoughts, these not physical things, these very mental things, they're not real in the sense of on the physical. They're real, REEL. They're playing through your head. They're not REAL, um, which is causing, yeah, and it's you're not solidified in your feelings. So during this transformation, that's what you're needing to do. This death is to make the shaky waters more solidified. This doesn't mean that it's going to freeze over and become ice, but it just means you yourself need to have a better body or a better boat when you're on that water. You need to understand what waters or know what feelings you're really feeling when it comes down to it. You need to do that shadow work. This might be you can't, get a leg up in your business, or you can't get your business out the door because you have some form of trauma from the past of, oh, I didn't get enough attention, so what if this doesn't get enough attention, or things like that. Or you have mother issues with nurturing, or father issues with being able to do appropriate actions. All these things, you need to do that shadow work at this time and take that responsibility and respond to these things. Because with the 5 being inverted, that's your 5 senses. That's the only number that's out here besides 8, and 8's upright. This is your test to control your body. Will you become a master of your body, or will you succumb to it and allow it to rule you? And it's not necessarily the body, it's the mind. Can you know what your mind is doing and prevent it from leading your body down a path it doesn't need to go down? Or will you just listen to your mind and allow it to do things to push you away from people and create holes? It's up to you, and you need to make that step moving forward. You need to make that push. We have the 9 of swords. Excuse me, the 9 of swords inverted, and the 9 of swords inverted is Gemini and Sun. No, Gemini and Mars. Excuse me, Gemini and Mars. It is the Cain and Abel card. With the upright, you are Cain. You are saying that you can, and inverted, you are you are able when it's upright. Excuse me, I had it back. You are able when it's upright. It's inverted, so it's Cain. That's what I was thinking. But if it's upright, you're able. You're able to do things. When it's inverted, you're Cain, and you're killing your ability, or you're killing able to have that life, to have that source. You're needing to know, and you're needing to have rest at this time, because the mentality that you're in is destructive. It's not allowing you to see the benefit. You're not in a headache because of the battle of I can't. You've made the decision that you can't. And you've decided to not rest. You decided to stay up. You've stayed up and looked at the swords. The swords have fallen on you. The quilt of all the zodiac of many choices no longer can suit you, and that test is being failed. So right now, the way that you're thinking of things, this next stage, you're doing the order correctly. You're doing it very correctly, because with death being there, the major arcana being that theme to the Knight of Cups, that's the fire to the water. That death is that transformation from that idea to that feeling, from that feeling to those swords, going back to the feeling, going back to the swords. It's this argument between your mind and your heart, and it's literally being projected out on the cards here to show you. Some people might have an issue believing it, but it's there. It's the swords, it's the cups. It's that battle between what you feel and what you think, and then how you think about how you feel, because that correlation happens too, and that's what's destroying it. You need to be aware of that. You need to know your mind, know where these thoughts are coming from. Don't just take this advice for this one scenario. It's something that you need to have in your toolkit to walk the path of life. So keep pulling these tools out to remember and recall to yourself that you can. And again, listen to your feelings. The Page of Cups. The Page of Cups is you speaking fish, you learning how to speak fish. It is the cusp between Cancer and Scorpio. And you're needing to, in this cusp, in this, what I would say, in this death period, because the way I put the card down, even was over top of death, is you're needing to learn how to speak to yourself and listen to yourself properly. You need to listen to yourself properly first before you learn how to speak to yourself, though, because you're not listening. You're not hearing what your heart's telling you. Or maybe you are, but you're listening more to what your thoughts are saying than your heart. And that's the issue. That's the core that needs to be separated, that needs to be seen for you to move forward. And this is how you're going to be able to move through. Again, from the Knight of Swords inverted to the Page of Cups upright to the Six of Swords. The Six of Swords is Aquarius and Mercury. Again, this is how you're talking to yourself. Learn from the wisdom, from the nurturing the water, that fish, that nutrients, that living being that's speaking to you from the fish, that's giving you words. That right there is the source that you need to listen to. That's the heart. That's what's living in the water. That's the wisdom inside the water. With that, you can move forward with six, your spiritual senses, your higher senses. And that's what you need to do, is to listen to yourself, your feelings, your heart space, so that you know how to move forward in a spiritual way rather than a physical way, because you can't move on a physical sense right now. Your spiritual senses are out of whack, causing your physical senses to be useless in self. So you need to go back up to where it starts at the, you need to go back inside where it starts, excuse me, what I should say, to the mind, and fix the mind. And the mind, way you fix the mind is going back to that feeling. When you fix those feelings, you can traverse the mind easier. And that's what this is asking you to do. Because you're trying to see, that's why you can't see the end result with the Page of Pentacles. You're not seeing how to get the Capricorn energy or something you're starting up to move to the Taurus energy to start working and to start moving, right? You can't see that, and it's because your mind is clouding that. You need to work through these feelings, work through this inner self state, through that heart space, clearing it out so that the mind can be clear and free, so you can then see. Other than that, this is an alchemical order. You're just going back and forth between your heart and your mind. It's the heart first, then your mind. It's always going to be that. But it goes from your heart to your mind, and then you keep battling, and then you look at on the physical. I don't know how the hell to get this out and that out to there, because you're too busy arguing in here instead of letting it flow out. So work with that. Work with the flow. Work with getting in tune with your flow. What is your flow? How do you operate? What do you do? Get used to that and how your waters work. And then you can act as the fish in the big pond or the big body of water that we call life. Regardless, this has been the reading. Thank you all so much for being here. Again, free Dr. Malachi York. He is the one. He is the one, the man of the hour, and that hour is almost up. If you know anything about next year being the year of the fire horse, which is the second horseman, then you are on ball. If you are not, do your studying. And that's your key for your studying. Not all teachers are going to teach you all things, but we will give you the keys to what you need to know. If you would like to be taught by me or have any or things, personal readings to get in depth with what you're going through rather than general ones that aren't as helpful, or a spiritual court case, magic, anything of that nature, one-on-one work, email me, and I'll send you the price list and we'll get things set out. I'm very easy to work with. And I have books as well. Other than that, tarot chart stuff is becoming more complete. I made 2 mocks, and I have a third version that I'm really enjoying right now. I just kind of have to figure out how I want to space it out to get everything, and then we'll be done with that. So I'm very excited for that. Other than that, and regardless of that, I love each and every one of you. There is no limit to how far this love will extend. But hopefully you will have a beautiful and abundant and peaceful day. Much love to all of you. Hadis Ashag Wadu.